Wait for the lights to go out. This is the first MC Insurance British Superbike race of the day. Josh Brooks on pole position. Good start, though, from a man alongside him on the Ducati Panigale. John Hopkins hits the first turn in the lead. Idden's on the inside, round the outside, and Copps swoops James Ellison on the JG Speedfit Kawasaki as they launch now down towards the complex. It's the leader is Hopper. He's managed to leap to the front with that Ducati. Brooks is right behind him. Third place for James Ellison. Fourth place now for the Tyco BMW. Michael Laverty's scalding start by him has launched through the fourth place past Idden.
Yeah, Idden struggled a little bit from the front row, really. Would have been hoping for a better start from that. I need to see how quick the Panigale is down the back. So it looks like Ellison that's had the best run of that. No.
Brooks gets in there. Ellison can't quite squeeze underneath, and the fourth place still. Oh,
Brooks has gone wide there. That was
wide.
Brooks wide.
So Josh Brooks comes back on the inside then of Hopkins, but the Australian, yes, he can tuck back in. Here's Ellison with the Tyco BMW of Laverty way wide.
Yeah, lost the front going in, that's why. Had to let go of the brakes, hit it up a little bit, and it cost him quite a bit of time there.
I think he took Christian Idden with him. That allowed Hickman to hammer through on the inside, but Hickman almost immediately loses out to number 7, Laverty. Not quite, as they dive down through farm.
And this is what Shane Byrne did not need. He would have been hoping against hope that somebody could have just ruffled Brooks up and get in front of him and not let him have his own way of it. Because I just feel once he gets a couple of laps under his belt on his own and set his own kind of line and times, I think that he's going to be away.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. He's been going good all weekend, and this is not looking good for the rest of the guys. He's out front, clear track, might be see you later.
Yeah, and it's just the ability he's got. You've seen him every single session, not even the time sessions, even the untimed ones. He goes out, bang, fast laps immediately.
And there's a fair amount of fisticuffs going on in the infield amongst the rest of them.
I just noticed that at the corner right, there's some shenanigans and right.
Luke Mossey and Dan Linfoot were certainly involved in that mayhem as they come out. They're surging through now towards Woodcut. This will complete the first lap of the day in the MC Insurance British Superbike Championship as they hurtle across the line. Brooks leads it. Ellison, Hopkins, Laverty. Idden 5th ahead of Hickman. Byrne is into 7th place ahead of Linfoot now and Mossey. Buchan 10th. Bridewell 11th ahead of Cooper. Jakob Smert's terrible start down in 13th place ahead of Billy McConnell.
Yeah, you just feel that if Byrne was going to do anything about Brooks at the front on equal terms, then he needed a better first lap and start than what he's had.
So a comfortable position then for the Milwaukee Yamaha, but he won't be taking that for granted. That is the reigning champion, number 67, Shaky Byrne, as they go down the hanger straight up to and above 180 towards 190 miles an hour before backing it off at Stowe Corner.
Yeah, there's lots of this circuit got, I won't say very bumpy, but certainly it's bumpier than it was a year ago. I've done a couple of track days recently around, and even on a road bike at the pace, the pedestrian pace by comparison that I'm able to go down now, it's quite, there's ripples in places.
As they scorch round Club Quarter onto the new start and finish straight, so halfway round the lap. Josh Brooks looking good at the front, but I'm impressed with the fact that Ellison and the Ducati is staying on his pace, James.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Ellison, he looks like he wants some. You know, he saw Brooks get out front, and he's hanging on to his coattails, so he's pulled that gap back a little bit.
Ellison is running with a little bit of confidence now, you know. When you speak to him, the paddock, he's relaxed, he's started to believe in himself a little bit, and we've known for a couple of years, if he gets a run of luck, he is a quick lad.
And he certainly is matching Brooks's pace right now. You can see the Ducati Panigale just losing out a little as they go down the Wellington Straight, dropping into Brooklands. 4th place still for Laverty. Idden still there in 5th on the Suzuki.
Yeah, Ellison, he's looking good here. I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing. He reeled him back in and just hang out there and let's play it out.
Somebody passed
Robin Harms.
Robin Harms are dead.
Robin Harms, the Dane's been brought back into the BSB paddock by PR Kawasaki. What a shame. He was he was running.
Oof, and that PR Kawasaki's
that's pumped.
Used bike for sale.
Yeah, very much so. Look at these.
Slightly used.
Look at the times, though, look. There's lots of people under the existing lap record. Top 5 last lap beat the existing lap record. But remember, everybody went a lot quicker in practice. That's the fastest of them. That's Peter Hickman in 5th. Fastest so far.
He's obviously got that brand new factory BMW engine working then. as they storm down the straight then. Brooksy still had it from Ellison and Hopkins.
Really, Hickman, it seems unfair if he didn't have an extra 5-brake horse, because I think he's just physical size, he needs it.
Yeah.
If he had a handicapping system, he'd have at least 5-brake horse more.
Exactly, it's a handicap.
The leader still Josh Brooks. Here comes Hopkins. Colin, you've got to be impressed by the fact, as I am, by the fact, for example, right here, we've got 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. It's pretty impressive stuff, isn't it?
Absolutely. I'd love to transplant this over to the U.S. and the Moto America right now. It's good racing. All these guys, we've got, what, 30 guys on the grid, and yeah, it's a great paddock. The atmosphere here is awesome. Loving every minute of it. It's
been a little bit of a triumph of kind of the technical guys, really, who you don't get to speak of or talk of much, just because they've come up with a set of rules, and it was a few people throwing their hat in the ring to get the rules the way they are, and we've got real parity. No matter what your standard road bike is, normally that has a massive effect on what your superbike ends up like, but here it seems pretty fair. Yeah, absolutely, and it keeps the cost down a little bit, you know. I mean, there's so much money being spent in other areas, electronics, we know. These guys don't have any. It's a standard ECU, and that keeps the cost down a lot. Yeah, you can't make any cheaper than not being able to have it. That was my dad's theory at home.
Brooks still leads the way. You'll notice that Shaky Byrne has begun to cut his way through. He sized through at Aintree on Christian Iden, and now as they cross the line onto the 4th of 14 laps, Shaky's up to 5th place, just behind the new lap record holder Peter Hickman.
They've got to be careful here, because any chance that anybody had, and I think that it was Ellison who looked most likely to be able to go with Brooks, if Hopkins and Ellison keep beating each other up, they're not going to be able to do anything. They need to just work together a little bit, I think. Yeah, 100%. They need to get out there and go and catch them, because Brooks right now, he's out front, comfortable, starting to gain that confidence lap after lap, and he's going to pull away.
You notice that this thing about you guys going, I've rarely found any of you lads who will actually settle for following one another along.
Yeah,
I've got to be honest.
I must admit, yes.
When did you ever take notice of someone patting the back of the seat saying, follow me?
Yeah, you go, yeah, right, okay.
I remember Aaron Slight once came back, he passed me after that, passed him a few times. We've had a bit of a dice at Assen, and kept tapping his seat, and I thought, yeah, not really.
Sorry, yeah,
I think we've lost Danny Buchan somewhere, I think.
Oh, he's fallen
the big
Cox. Yeah, Danny Buchan's out, so he's not the most glorious of debuts on the PBM Kawasaki for the lad. As we go back onto race action, there's Hopkins on the Lloyd's British Motor Rapido Ducati. He's a guy you must know a lot of the background of, John Hopkins, and of course have raced against him MotoGP, Colin.
Yeah, no, he's a great kid, unbelievable talent. He, you know, and I mean, as far as his entire career and life and wife and, you know, all this stuff around him, I think he's actually got everything sorted out. He's happy as a person, and he's riding great.
Yeah, and you never lose talent. You cannot get rid of talent. If you've got it, you've always got it.
There's your fellow Texan, Sarah, and Sarah Ellison there in the box at JG Speedfit, keeping an eye on things, Colin.
Chewing on them fingers.
Meanwhile, Brooks still has that lead. He's lapping steadily and right on 2 minutes 6 seconds at the moment. The fastest man on the last lap was a 2 minutes 5.458. That was Shaky Byrne. And as they howl past us across the line now, in the order, Brooks, Ellison, Hopkins, Hickman, Byrne, Iden right behind him, number 24. Then number 4, Linfoot, has got past Michael Laverty, so Linfoot's Honda moves through into 7th place. Laverty back to 8th, Mossy, Bridewell, Smertz up to 11th now, Cooper in 12th.
And, you know, Josh, he's pulled a little bit on that last lap. That was his fastest lap of the race. I'd look for him to do another fast lap, try and break their spirit a little bit, and I don't know, it might be a fight for second after that.
There's you can see the Suzuki versus Honda there, with Linfoot now right on the back wheel of Christian Iden, and then the test of pace down here. Presumably that's dependent on how fast you get out of that left-hander onto the straight as much as anything.
Yes, physics would state this, yes.
Typically.
And then how late you hit the brakes into Stowe Corner,
I just saw, yeah, Jackson just nipping up the inside of Josh Waters there.
That's the newly, number 6 is the newly crowned Super Sport champion, Luke Stapleford, making his debut for the JG Speedfit Kawasaki team, and running pretty splendidly in 17th place now, ahead of Martin Jessup. Yeah,
great little rider, I think, Luke Stapleford. I think he's a little in stature. Now, whether that's going to go against him on the bigger bikes, more power, I don't know. But yeah, I really like the way he rides.
Josh, you must have been pretty impressed with Brooks this weekend, Colin.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. I mean, I know what times we did here in MotoGP, and for him to go out there on a bike without electronics and to throw down, was it 3.9?
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive, very impressive.
I was asking you before we came on air where you think he ought to go next year, and I did point out that it looks as if this is the only paddock in which you can actually command a salary.
It's called Show Me the Money.
So you would say this paddock?
Yeah, go where the money is.
It just doesn't sound as good when I say that.
And you can see that right now, James Ellison has clawed his way back as they come out of Luffield now and start that fabulous wind up through Woodcut onto the straight past us here. This is up to and over 160 miles an hour before they back off for the third gear. Cop's right-hander, and you can see that Peter Hickman is towering over John Hopkins now. Shaky Byrne still running there in fifth. Linfoot is through to sixth place ahead of Christian Iden Suzuki.
Now then, tyre-wise, you said it. There's only Luke Mossey, Michael Laverty and Tommy Bridewell, the two Tyco boys, on the harder of the options for the rear. But that surprised me. I spoke with Luke Mossey this morning. He said that, yes, the times had come from the zero, but they were only lasting 3 laps. He says there was... What is the difference from that is the track temperature is slightly higher, but not much. So we're going to see how well these zeros last.
And Josh Brooks did say that tyre life was something that they were working on and slightly concerned about.
Yeah, I would, with the zero, I would say that was a real concern.
Yeah, I think it's going to turn into a little speedway race here at the end.
Yeah.
We'd like to see them, Colin. Brooks leads the way. Incidentally, the SC1 tyres are at least consistently together. Laverty's slipped back to 8th. Mossey's in 9th. Bridewell in 11th. Kuba Smertz has just snooped past Bridewell into 10th.
I think that's what you call a partial success.
Yeah, it is at the moment. At this moment in time, it might get better later on.
It might.
Partial. Hey, and Ellison, he saw what was happening. He did his fastest lap in the last lap, 5.5. He's caught back up to him. You know, these guys are pushing the limit, and I think Brooks saw that he did 5.9, a little bit slower in his previous lap.
I think Byrne got underneath Hickman.
Correct.
As they went into the right-hander there. And, yeah, Shaky has now finally managed to move into that 4th place. So the champion never bail out on Shaky Byrne. He's still in there pressing hard, and he knows he needs to move further forward. The fastest lap classification will, of course, this will decide the order of starting in the next race. So we'd have Byrne, Linfoot, Hickman on the front row, Ellison, Hopkins and Brooks on the second row. An unexpected spot from that man, number 25, Josh Brooks, to start from.
Look at the number 77, JG Speedfit Kawasaki in second there. That's James Ellison. And if you look, you've got a braking strategy, how much engine braking you have, how much clutch slip you have to stop the bike kicking sideways or to have it kicking sideways to the amount you want going into the corners when you're braking. There's no weight on the rear. But his bike, Ellison, just watching a couple of the corners, it's quite loose. It's a lot more loose than I've seen before.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's stepping out quite a bit.
So he's obviously enjoying, right? That Yamaha ahead of him looks like it's on rails just to increase that contrast.
That's Mossey.
And Mossey's down, so there's one of the SC1 tyres gone. Then Luke Mossey running in 9th place behind Michael Laverty. That Skywalker trudges off. And Cop's again.
Yeah, that's Cop, same place as BUCHAN went down, yeah.
It's not being kind to young 6-footers. Here's Ellison going for the lead. That's surely going to work. James Ellison thrusts the Kawasaki to the front. Beautiful move by him on the 7th lap of 14. And finally, Josh Brooks isn't leading this race. We expected him to command it. Now, what's he got in reserve?
It's weird down at a store. You can always outbrake somebody. It's one of them corners you can always outbrake somebody. You can always get it to an early apex, but it's just if you can maintain that or not just get thrown out wide and lose the position again.
Yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, you go in there all by yourself, and if you get in a little bit deep, you're out wide. You get up underneath somebody, though, no problem. It's weird how it works.
Yeah.
Well, he certainly produced the effective result there. That was a perfect line.
It's quite bumpy in there now.
Yeah, it is. I saw a few weeks ago when the GP was here. It looks like there's quite a few bumps around the track.
You can see that James Ellison would move within a point of Shaky Byrne as we stand at the moment, with Ellison leading it and Shane Byrne in 4th place on 13 points. So Brooks, Ellison, Ellison, Brooks, Hopkins, Byrne, Hickman are the top 5. Linfoot in 6th, Iden in 7th place. So it's not quite working for Christian Iden at the moment, where he did tweet that my last results have been 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th. Can you see where I'm going with this one? 5 races to go.
Hey, we'd love for Iden to be somewhere in the top 3 or 4. I would have loved to see him get a roster before the end of the season. But you know, he's saying you can never tell motorcycle racing, and look at this. One man's been dominant all weekend. He's been able to put fast laps in at will and make everybody else look virtually silly, and now he's finding it difficult.
And Ellison, he just went 7/10 of a lap faster that lap. He's, you know, I don't know what's happening with Josh. He just did a 6.2. That's quite a bit slower.
Tires, maybe.
Yeah, could be.
That was a 7/10 of a difference then in lap times between number 77, the green Kawasaki, number 25, the red and black Yamaha. The Yamaha once again closes that gap on the leader as that determined Australian gets his head down.
Yeah, what happened? I just turned my head for a moment. He's right back on him. He had about 10 bike links on him, didn't he?
Yep.
And look at Shaky BYRNE. Shaky's last lap was a 2 minutes 5.8. He's closed the gap on the two guys in front of him. So just past half distance on the 8th lap of 14 in a perfect late summer sunshine haze here at Silverstone. Peter Hickman just dropping a little off the pace. Behind him, it's Linfoot, Idden, Laverty tied together, and Jakob Smerts about 5 seconds back down the road in 9th place. Suffering for a bad start, really.
This place is so technical, you know, it's so wide and flowing, and lots of places where one corner leads directly onto another, so you mess up one, you really mess up the next one. I've done a little bit of training and coaching for people around here, and if you've never been to this place before, you can't really coach anybody till late in the day, because it takes them 3/4 that day just to learn where the track goes. It's difficult to learn.
Yeah, and I haven't, you know, big meetings with the KTM kids, and it's like this corner in particular. It's like, don't even worry about that corner. Worry about the next corner and the straightaway. Get the drive on there, because that corner really doesn't mean anything. It's just getting a good drive.
Yeah. That little Mexican lad, Sean Kelly, who won yesterday, said he didn't want to get to the front too soon because he didn't know where he was going.
I believe it.
He did all right. He did very well once he got there. Won it at the death. So if you've still got these front four then locked together, Ellison putting in a bit of a masterclass at the moment, and Hopkins finally proving what the Panigale can do, James. We've seen him qualify well before now, but he's looking for that first rostrum.
He and the Panigale, the combination has been brilliant every time he's thrown his leg over it. However, it's been a little bit fragile, and he hasn't been big stuff. He's not been throwing rods out the side. It's just been little niggling electricals. And
hey, guys, lap times have dropped off the board. 6.7, 6.5. So they're about a second slower than they were in the beginning.
And we're on to just the 9th lap of 14, so there's a fair distance to go yet for them to nurse these tyres through.
We got some tire issues going on right now, for sure.
I think so.
Who would you put your money on? Because you've got Kawasaki,
well, you always do
Yamaha.
this, you do, Jack.
No, you've got Kawasaki, Yamaha, Ducati, Kawasaki again. I mean, which make of machine do you think might be best looking after its tyres?
From what we've seen this year, the one that doesn't step out, stays in line, looks balanced, looks settled, is definitely that one there, Josh Brooks' Yamaha. We've just doesn't mean necessarily it's going to make the tire.
Yeah, and I mean, theoretically, you know, we used to always say this, theoretically, when the tire went off, the Ducati always worked better. You know, a big twin pumping and putting the traction down. We used to always say that. I'm just not sure if it's correct.
The thing is now with the Panigale, you know, it's sober square. The reason they can make that bike, it is a V-twin still, but it revs and revs and revs, so it actually uses the tire a little bit more like a 4 now.
Josh Brooks looking as if he's trying to line up an attack on James Ellison now as they come howling round towards the... and here comes Shaky BYRNE up the inside of the Ducati. Shaky makes his move. He's moving to 3rd place. That is instantly improving his points haul from this race, and he's got the leaders in his sights. So perhaps Shaky's going to be the very dark horse here.
And it is a lovely feeling, you know, when you've caught up from maybe a bad grip position or a bad first lap, and you've sneaked up there, and at some point you realise, you know what? I've got the pace for this one, I can do this. And especially when you see other people having problems. And he'll see a lot more than we will from where he's sat.
Yeah, but how many times have you made up to that position and you've destroyed your tires and you don't have anything left?
Yeah, but it's good for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Makes you feel good.
So Shaky BYRNE there, number 67 on the PBM, B-Wiser, Peacocks, Kawasaki has stormed through to 3rd place then. Just ahead of him on that lap, it was a 2.6.8, 2.6.8, 2.6.6 for the front men. Hopkins just falling off the pace into the 2.7s.
You know, that's 3 seconds, almost, I mean, 2.9 seconds slower than qualifying, and these guys are definitely struggling, pretty easy to see.
Yuichi Kianari's retired the build-based BMW to the pits. He, of course, was a race winner, shared the race victories with Shaky BYRNE in a dramatic weekend 12 months ago. Yeah, and 12 months before that, it was Shane Byrne and Alex Lowe's going at it, and it was just as close and kind of a little bit nasty at times was that one, I thought. Meanwhile, Michael Laverty's got back in front of Linfoot, so he's into 6th place. Linfoot 7th, Idden squeezed back to 8th. But Ellison still leading the way from the aggressive riding style there of Josh Brooks, number 25.
Shane Byrne will now be putting Petra's housekeeping cut on hold for a bit. Well, we said it was loose at the back. He actually went at the front as well then, had to let the brakes off, had to run wide. He collected it pretty well, to be honest, having it out.
Look at that contrast in riding styles that you see even more vividly from the back, the rear views there. Fantastic to watch.
Obviously, I hadn't seen all the races. Is Josh just playing right now? Is he just kind of gauging himself off of Ellison and then going to throw a last lap attack?
I think the plan was to clear off into the middle distance, but that
Here comes
plan
Shaky.
hasn't worked, has it?
Whoa.
Plan B's just falling apart now.
Yeah.
So Shaky Byrne then squeezes aside his titled rival, Josh Brooks. Could he be making inroads into Josh's championship advantage? At the moment, the gap, 28 points.
I think Shaky looks the most comfortable right now.
I think so.
He's just picking them off one by one. It doesn't look, the bike looks good, smooth, not moving around a whole lot.
Ellison's not brilliant into corners.
No, it's he needs to fix that engine brake.
So we're on the 10th lap of 14. James, he looks a bit... He took 2 stabs at the corner at the apex then.
You know, Shaky not been on the best of form lately, and then qualifying 10th. You'd be Ellison. None of these guys look back like you used to do when you're club racing, so he won't know. He's going to get passed at some point by Shane Byrne and think, hey, referee.
Yeah. What's he doing up here?
Round Copse corner, you can see Brooks is trying to get on the inside. He does. What a drive from the Yamaha. Absolutely clawed his way around the outside, out of Copse. Great move back into second. Oof, that was superb. He picked that up so early on in Copse.
That's pretty ballsy.
And that's the third place man, Shaky Byrne. Watch, and he was out of his seat there as they came out onto the hanger straight. Shaky had a big moment.
Yeah, and that cost you all the way down. You really need a clean run out of there.
And here comes the Yamaha just thinking about it, but the Kawasaki with the legs down the straight despite the slipstream.
And Hopper, he's not gone yet. He's still there.
And as they look at that thrum of the overrun, that flat sound of the Yamaha sandwiched between those 2 howling Kawasaki's, and then that Ducati 1200 twin behind them.
I always want Hopper to do well. I don't know why. Well, why is that?
I know, I do too. I like the guy.
Yeah, but you're a fellow American, but I just think he seems a bit of an underdog to me, and he's always smiling. And
yeah. And here comes Brooks looking, not quite able to look underneath. Ellison's riding leading comfortably from the front. As we've said before, it is something that he does fairly masterfully, James. He doesn't get ruffled at the front, does he?
No, and all of these guys are people who can lead from the front.
And in fact, Ellison pulls a big gap there as he gets onto the Wellington straight, pulls himself well clear of the Yamaha out of Aintree, that fast left-hander. The one that you said that you need to get right, Colin, to get onto that straight.
Yeah, I'm looking at the splits throughout this lap. Hickman's, he's made about half second on these guys this one lap. Now he's gonna be in the 5v5 of them battling then. There he is.
Hickman, the only BSB rider ever to be sponsored in a big way by a fish and chip shop. Good on you, lad.
Yeah, excellent.
What's that phone number?
And also that BMW, that brand new. And here comes Brooks. He got a terrific drive there out of Woodcut. Retakes the lead into Copse corner from Ellison.
You know, Ellison, he looks like he's hesitant going in with that clutch.
I think so.
He's not throwing it in. He's just kind of tipping it in slowly.
He has to wait a little bit, then go in.
Yeah.
So Brooks then back in the lead. Hickman there running in 5th place. Incidentally, he has talk about a busman's holiday. He's got your pal Nicky Hayden's crew chief, Frankie Carchady, helping to sort out that brand new and set up that brand new BMW engine.
Hey, Hickman did
2.6.8.
Yeah, he did 0.6 of a second faster than the guys in front, the leader last lap.
I wonder if it's too late. He's got about 2.5 laps to really join in the fun for a podium position. That would be the current points total, 628 to 591 to 582. It would still only be 9 points between Ellison and Byrne if Ellison can stay in front of Shaky, but Shaky's looking strong.
This is a quick lap by Brooks. I think Brooks may have just been sandbagging slightly. This looks like a quick one.
He's put his head down, hasn't he?
Yep.
So Josh Brooks from Bringelly. He told me last night I've been saying it wrong all this time. It's an old Aboriginal word from on the western suburbs of Sydney. Looks as if he's opened up a gap at the front here.
How do you pronounce it?
Bringelly.
Bringelly. It's like a kid's party. You always bought jelly or sandwiches.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. Here's Shaky Byrne tipping in underneath James Ellison, just as you predicted he might do, and that gives Shaky the advantage there. Oh no, steady boys. So down the Wellington straight then, Shaky burst through into second place.
Well, Shaky seeing what's happening. Josh is getting out there. He's got to get by.
And that Hickman now threatening that Lloyd's British Ducati Panigale. He cut inside at that point. Hopper went wide as they went into Brooklands.
Yeah,
Hickman was through. So Hickman goes to fourth.
The telling thing will be Brooks's lap time on this lap.
As we cross it, well, we prepare to cross the line now, and the leader, Josh Brooks, goes through 2 minutes 6.5 and about 7/10 quicker than his pursuer.
Yeah.
And Hickman did 6.9. That's your second fastest lap. Laverty did 6.7, so Laverty's not done yet either. He's only got 2 laps.
And Laverty is on the harder tyre. He probably...
The SC1 works. Now he reached lap 13. So the penultimate, there's the fastest lap classification, would still have Byrne, Linfoot and Hickman on the front row, Ellison, Hopkins and Brooks on the second. So that man would start on pole position for the second outing. Ahead of him is the Australian, and he's just beginning to gap James Ellison, and Ellison's third place is under threat now from Big Peter Hickman, because the lad from Louth is hanging right on the back wheel of that Kawasaki on the RAF Reserves BMW. Peter, of course, has already tasted podium success at Cadwell Park at his local track, twice second back in the end of August.
And did you see they had some really smart boys and girls from the RAF in full uniform on the grid? Really nice out. Yeah.
You said that Laverty wasn't finished, Colin. Look, he's almost joining on at the back of this. He's got Hopkins in his sights.
He's got a lap and a half to do it.
Well, it's not enough to win it, but he might get in and about the group.
Needs to be about a 16 or 17 lap race for him.
That was a moment there. Hickman looking again to get underneath as they go into the loop, and he goes for the inside line, but James Ellison chops across in front of him, and then it's the long wind up out of Aintree.
A lot of corners here when you try and make a pass. It's really difficult to make it clean. You've almost got to let them see you and then run on, or nearly get your nose chopped off. It's you need a lot of commitment here.
Dropping downhill then into the left-hander.
Look at Ellison. It just doesn't seem to...
And he's gone well wide there. Hickman squeezes through. He's done the same as he did to Hopkins on the previous lap. That's third place for the BMW.
He can't get it stopped, Kyle Ellison. That's his problem. It's been like that the whole race.
Yeah, and, you know, the tire's gone off, so that little bit of traction you had there at the beginning, it's gone.
Yeah.
The final lap, Brooks leads it. Byrne second. Hickman now ahead of Ellison, threatened by the white and red Ducati, and right behind them Michael Laverty. Linfoot seventh, Iden in eighth, Bridewell Smerts rounding out the top 10. So this is all to play for the third step on the rostrum. It looks like Brooks and Byrne have the lead and second tied up.
Man, all the guys are in sevens. Even you got Ellison doing an 8. I mean, they are struggling right now with tires. Just limp it on home.
That's off to Brooks, though. You've got to take your hat off to Brooks. This is exactly what... I mean, he didn't do it the way we thought he might, but certainly he's done what we thought he could.
Yeah. Tell you what, this is a fast limp, I have to say.
Yeah, no, true. And, you know, we know where the tires are by the lap times, but Brooks is still looks great. Looks like that bike's on the rails.
Well, if Colin was sat on the bike, it would be a limp, but if you were sat on the back of any of these, Jack, I'll tell you what, you wouldn't think you were limping.
What's your best result round here, Colin?
I won in the rain, I think, 02.
Yeah, with the,
you did win in the rain.
I was there, yeah. I had a win that day as well.
That's right.
The last ever one. I limped after that.
You did, and you actually won it while sitting in the sliding through a quagmire on the outside of the truck on your backside.
Thanks for that. I'd forgot about that bit.
Whoa.
Ooh, Shaky out the seat. He's trying.
Shaky is working hard, isn't he? And Ellison must be desperate to try and get that third place back from Hickman, because that's, well, crucial points.
Hey,
crucial
Hickman,
points.
what an impressive ride. I mean, he sat there. Hickman, he came up, past the guys. He's going to get on the podium.
He's a sneakily good rider, is this Peter? He has been all year. Yeah.
It's impressive.
And at the front, you can see that Shaky's dramatically closed the gap. He was trying to create another grandstand finish, and way out.
Ellison
That's Ellison costing himself even a fourth-place finish. Hopper goes through into fourth. Laverty closes up in sixth. But it's this man, Josh Brooks, surely, who's finally governed the race after taking a break mid-race. He's certainly wound it on late on. Brooks wins it. Byrne second. Hickman a spectacular third. Hopkins, Ellison, Laverty. That's your top six. Linfoot in seventh place, and relief, Mick Shanley, Sean Muir and Amy there in the Milwaukee Yamaha garage, and relief also in this garage. Waggy there in centre of picture got his first points in the Ducati Tri-Options Cup. Well done, Waggy. 13th place. That training with Shaky's